Hello, what is up? Unrested here, back with another video, and I want to start off by apologizing for the quality of sound in the last two videos. Still figuring out my sound setup. I think today I may have gotten it perfect. Maybe. Okay, if this sucks too, I apologize so much. Anyway, I had in the past connected the microphone up to the camera and only recorded in the left sides of the speakers. Then I'd have to double the sound and I'd sound like I'm talking in a box. And after that, I tried connecting it up to my computer, and it appears I'm recording to both sides of both speakers. I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. I hope this works. Today is the first episode of hopefully many episodes of a new series I call UNRESTOLOGY. You do not need to watch the screen, so I do not know why I've set up an SLR camera with the best quality video I can manage, but I've done that anyway. This is going to be just kind of my thoughts on damn near anything. I'm going to start this one with Japanese stuff though, so those of you who are watching my channel for the Japanese stuff, you will hopefully be pleasantly surprised. Going to cover some topics today. I want to cover Japan is recently shutting down all tattoo shops in Japan. Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. It's happening. And I want to talk about a video everybody's sending me recently about this thing called the translator. It is a tiny little necklace that you hang around your neck and talk into in English. It then translated into Japanese, and the CM, or the commercial, or the ad that is on YouTube right now is a bit controversial. I'll give my opinion on why that is and what it is. And there's a movie on Aokigahara known as The Forest. It's a horror movie coming out, and people are asking me my opinion on that. So we're going to cover all those topics today and a little bit more. Sorry if I go off on a tangent, but hey, this is my show. I'll do whatever the hell I want, and I'll talk about whatever the hell I want. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and hopefully I'm not picking up too much background sound, and hopefully all this sound comes out perfect. Let's just shoot right into it. Okay, so number one, Japan is shutting down all tattoo shops. The shop in which I got my sleeve, I had a half sleeve when I came to Japan, and I got a cover up over that half sleeve and had this whole arm done. Has been shut down. It's actually a chain of stores called Chopsticks Tattoo. I've featured it in past videos. Is now completely shut down by the police. Tattooing is now becoming illegal in Japan, it seems like, because by law, for a needle to enter the skin in Japan, it's supposed to be a medical procedure. So by technicality of law, they consider tattoos a medical procedure, and they're getting away with that by saying that tattoos should only be used for makeup tattoo. If you don't already know, you can get yourself tattooed with makeup so that you don't have to wake up each morning and put your makeup on if you're a lady who likes to put on makeup, I guess. And so now they're saying that only hospitals are allowed to do such thing because they have the best possible sterile environment in which to do so. Mind you, you don't need any kind of license to tattoo in Japan. You don't need any kind of study of bloodborne pathogens or anything like that, or any kind of people who opened shops just opened it because they thought they were good at tattooing. And for the most part, Chopsticks was quite good at tattooing. They put out quality stuff. That being said, even the owner, from what I've heard, has been arrested. Multiple tattoo artists there have possibly been arrested as well. Where my biggest worry is I just had a friend, the guy who actually tattooed my arm, had left that shop and opened his own shop. I don't think he wants me to even say the shop name. I would totally shout it out right now, but he's deleted his Facebook profile for it, deleted all his information as far as things he's posting about his new shop, and I think it's because he's trying to keep it on the DL and not get arrested. So I'm not even going to shout out his name. You know who you are if you're watching this. Thank you for still watching my channel. He's even asked me to privatize the old videos I made about him tattooing. So if you're wondering why those are privatized, no kind of beef or anything like that, the guy just wants to keep it on the DL. Maybe there'll be a time where tattooing goes back to being a nonchalant, not interfered with by the police, but for right now it's being policed for pretty much no reason at all. I mean, they don't really have a good reason for doing it. It's not like tons of infections have been spreading through Japan because of tattooing. These places all followed the best possible code of
washing your tools or throwing them away, disposing of them, using an autoclave, which is the same thing dentists use to clean their equipment. So if you trust your dentist equipment is clean, then you could trust that these tattoo artists' equipment was clean as well. It sucks. It sucks. My personal opinion is they're probably doing this to try and clean things up for the 2020 Olympics. They probably think, hey, we don't want to have a bunch of unlicensed tattoo artists doing tattoos, and we can try to keep this clean, spiffy image when the 2020 Olympics show up. A lot of laws that have never been enforced before are just suddenly being enforced. Like, the work week is really only supposed to be 8 hours a day during the work week for Japanese people, but that has never been pushed before until suddenly now they're saying people should come into work early and leave work early. I don't know if that's actually happening. Some people are saying it is, some people are saying it isn't, but it appears to be enforced now because Japan wants to look great for their new neighbors coming over to participate in the Olympics. They want to try and clean up their image. It's sick. They'll do it for money and entertainment purposes, but they won't do it for the humanity of their own people. It's effed up. I don't like it. And it appears this is what they're doing too with tattoos. I could be totally wrong. If you have some other sort of input on why you think they're suddenly doing this, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'm open to any and all ideas.
Okay, so that's about all I have to say on that. For the most part, I do hope they open those places back up. I hope they drop these laws. Apparently, one of the artists who did get arrested has actually taken the county to court and said, if this is really true, you know, in the past, why has no one ever made us have a license? Why has no one ever made us have a medical degree? He's hired a lawyer and taken them to court. So I hope to God he wins his case, and they're made to look like the fools that they are for arresting these tattoo artists who make their living. Next, I want to talk about the ILI translator. ILI, maybe I'm saying this wrong, I don't know. You can look it up. I really wish I wasn't even talking about it now to give it proper advertisement. I'm literally doing a free advertisement. It sucks, you know, the things that you find the most controversial and you hate on YouTube, if you want to talk about it, you end up giving them a lot of ad space, a lot of shout out. I mean, my channel is massive compared to how tiny there is for their little product. I think there was only like 196 subscribers the last time I checked. So literally, probably you guys will check it out. I don't suggest you go over there and shout all kinds of insults and angry stuff. But it's this neat little tool. I personally do think it is a good piece of technology. If it really does what it says, which I kind of doubt at the same time. It's like a necklace. At the end, it's got this tiny little thing, looks about the size of a thumb drive. You say a sentence in English, and it will immediately translate it into perfect Japanese, it appears to be doing. From what I can tell, the Japanese is good that they show in the commercial, but then they show this guy saying, how many Japanese girls can I just walk up and just randomly kiss by using this? These girls I don't even know, they're strangers to me. I'm just going to try and use this to kiss them. It's like you've been given this amazing piece of technology, and the way you've chosen to advertisement is by trying to fuck people. Like, it's sick. Like, there's so many better ways that you could go about advertising, showing off this product, and making people interested in it. But instead, they choose this random gaijin guy, talking into it, and then going up to kiss girls, and which he does do. He gets away with it. But you can see all sorts of body language from him that shows they're incredibly uncomfortable. For the most part, Japanese people are so polite and so, I guess, peaceful and calm about things. That they're not going to show like a violent resistance to people trying to do something like this. But you can see the body language of the girls that he's doing this to. They're kind of like, as they press up against him, they have like their hands out in front of them naturally to like kind of push him away. But he still kisses them anyway. It's sick. I mean, it's pretty much advertising a tool for sexual assault. You know, pushing kisses and intimate situations on people who never asked for it on the street. It's messed up. I don't know why they would advertise it this way. I hope they get little to no people buying it. And let me just say, until they can actually prove that it would definitely perfectly translate everything that you would say into perfect grammatical Japanese, I highly doubt this works for every sentence. Of course, for the product demo, they're going to have stuff pre-programmed into it and translate it perfect, but I can't imagine they've made a tool that will perfectly translate everything you say. I have a feeling it'll be just about as good as Google Translate, in which case, most times your English sentences turn into gibberish. If you get too complex, it can't figure out, because there's some things there's just not even a translation for. For example, if you said, I've been to France, in Japanese you would say, France ita koto ga aru. So I have the experience of having gone to France. It doesn't exactly translate perfectly into I have been to France. That's the kind of things I'm talking about. Or like the word like natsukashi. If you were to say I am waxing nostalgic about the past, that would be the definition of natsukashi, but we really don't have a English word that translates in between those. They kind of just have to change it into the sentence that describes the word. So I hope what they're advertising is true. It's not just false advertising, and it's just Google Translator with, you know, rendering voice on Google Translator, in which case it's a pretty useless product. On top of it, I wish they would advertise it in a way, because it is, like I said, it is this great piece of technology. It's a really good idea. If it really works like that, that's awesome, cool. I want to see better communication between other countries and Japan. What I don't want to see is me represented by this dumbass gaijin on the video sexually assaulting and harassing random Japanese girls that he doesn't know on the street. We have a hard enough time getting past this kind of xenophobic level that there is here in Japan, mind you. It's mostly with the older generation, it's not with the younger generation. But this kind of thing doesn't help us integrate anymore. This doesn't help any kind of politics, any type of social integration, any kind of assimilation of the gaijin into Japanese society. We will never truly be Japanese. Do know that when you come here, you'll never truly be accepted as Japanese. But you know something that doesn't help bring that progress any farther along is advertisements like this for products like this. The product's a great idea. Using it to kiss random strangers is not a good idea. So that's just my, you know, shiny 2 cents on that subject. Lastly for this, I'm going to just end on talking about this movie, The Forest. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. It's fine. You know, you're not giving anybody a bunch of money to watch the trailer. It's on YouTube. You can just enter The Forest horror movie or The Forest movie. It's based on Aokigahara. If you don't know what that is the suicide forest. It is at the base of Fuji Mountain. It is well known for the fact that many a Japanese person go there to commit suicide. It's pretty much the equivalent to America's Golden Gate Bridge, the highest suicide rate area in Japan. How do I say that? The highest suicide spot, the highest rate of suicide is in that spot. My English has gone to crap. Okay, so it has a large amount of suicides to the point that that's what it's famous for. And the problem is that they're now using this site in Japan as a place for a horror movie. And it's, of course, a Hollywood horror movie with a gaijin as the main star, a white girl. And her sister has gone missing in the forest. She wandered into Aokigahara and now she's gone. You can't find her. So she's going to go to Japan, look for her sister. She can't speak Japanese, so she hires a tour guide. He is also a white person. Now, why you would go to another country where you don't speak the language and not hire a local tour guide, but rather hire another expat to do your translating makes zero sense. Okay, there are Japanese people who speak English. There are Japanese people who speak perfect English. There are Japanese people who are Japanese American who speak both languages perfectly. I don't know why you would choose a gaijin to lead you through a country. Why not choose someone who was born there, grew up there, and knows about the area? So she chooses this guy, who's a white guy, to lead her through the forest, and while they're searching for her sister who went missing in the suicide forest, they're being stalked by this creature that appears, and I could be wrong, maybe the movie's going to explain this somehow, to be a large male figure who has hung themselves. The noose is still hanging from their neck, it's just loose, which is one of the common ways that people do commit suicide there, true enough. But for the most part, it's actually by the gas stoves that you bring on a camping trip. They put it in a tent, they seal up the tent, and then they turn it on and die from the inhalation of the carbon monoxide, I believe, is what kills them. And anyway, but this one has committed suicide via hanging and is wearing a hangman's mask, an executioner's mask, which it makes no sense. No one has ever put on an executioner's mask, then hung themselves in Aokigahara.
Yamagata. Where would you even find an executioner's mask these days, or the hood that you put on to hang someone? Do they sell it at some kind of shop that I don't know about? I don't know. It makes no sense. So that's what's stalking them through the forest. It's the most ridiculous idea ever. And on top of it, like, the male figure who's stalking them is massive. And I mean, unless he's like a sumo wrestler or a professional wrestler in Japan, I don't know why he would be that big. For the most part, the average Japanese size, I think, is somewhere around like 5'7". Anyway, stupid. Looks like a dumb movie. Some people in Japan are really upset about this movie, and that is because it is kind of a sacred spot with a lot of death involved. It is a very sad spot. It is a national social problem that pains a lot of people, that many government reports have been done on before, white page reports as they're called. That's what I believe they're called. And it's something they're working on. It's really silly in the sense that if the opposite film were to be made, and I mean if a Japanese person were to go to America to make a horror film about a spot where people committed suicide, it would be like a Japanese person going to the Golden Gate Bridge and trying to find another Japanese person to translate for them, and the ghost that comes after them is a man on a pogo stick because people jump off of the Golden Gate Bridge, so that represents the jumping, I guess. It's so dumb. What a dumb idea. I could be wrong, though. You know what? Maybe this is going to come out and blow me away, and I'm going to be like, wow, they really stayed true to the idea, and it is a creepy, super spooky movie, but I doubt it. A lot of people are boycotting it. I don't believe in boycotting something for the fact of censoring it. I don't really think much should be censored because as an artist, I'm pretty against censoring. I do think, though, that there are things that are in bad taste. For example, a lot of people complained about that Sam Pepper video recently where he did the fake terrorist takes his friend and shoots him right after the Paris attacks. A lot of people are like, stuff like this should be censored, it's messed up. YouTube didn't take it down, I think they left it up, and he got a lot of hate for it. I think at another place in time, maybe that video would have been okay, but happening right after the Paris terrorist attacks, that's in poor taste, okay? That's like making a silly comedy sketch about 9/11 after 9/11 has just happened. There wouldn't be a lot of people laughing. There'd be a lot of people pissed off, and I think that's the problem. Is there's things that you can do that are in poor taste, and I don't know. I mean, perhaps this borders kind of on the level of very poor taste. Suicide forest is always happening. People are always committing suicide there. Suicides are still at about 30,000 a year in Japan. Japan is ranked about 11th in the world. It's not ranked number one like a lot of people think, and it's still a social problem. It is something they're working on, but they're working on it way too slow. I mean, I guess the only good thing that could come from this movie is maybe Japan will finally have to confront the suicide epidemic more, which, if that actually happens from this, then bravo. Even if it's a total crap movie, if that happens from this, then bravo. Then I applaud the movie. Then I applaud the message it was trying to get across. But I doubt it. I doubt it because it's Hollywood. And Hollywood tends to just take an idea, run it into the ground, and make it a worse version. They did it with Ju-on. They did it with The Ring. They especially did it with The Ring, too. Man, that was bad. And they'll probably do it with this. Anyway, guys, those are my 2 very shiny cents on these 3 topics I covered, yes. If you like what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have things you would like me to discuss, please leave them in the comments below. And think about asking me to discuss some things outside of Japan for this. This is Unrestology. This is where I can go off on subjects for a very long time, unhindered, in any which way I want, on any which tangent I want, and that's what I would like to do with this. A little bit shorter than what I expected today. I think we're only going to hit about 20-something minutes. I want to look into these being maybe as long as an hour in the future, almost like a podcast, something you can just, like Give Me a Break Man says for his laundry videos, which I'm completely borrowing this idea, of course. You can do your laundry or listen to this. You don't need to look at the video while you do it. Guys, until next time, I'm Unrested with the questions you requested. This is Unrestology. You guys have a great one.